Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks of plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it. Welcome in, everybody. How are we doing, you lovely people all over the globe? Hopefully your day or night or morning or whatever time of day it is going well. Whether it be a drive, or you're just doing some errands around the house, or you're vacuuming, you're cleaning, you're cooking. That's when I listen to podcasts all the time. But today I've got us another special one for you. Hopefully you enjoyed the interview with Christopher. This one is even, okay, I'm not going to say it's even better because that would be a disservice. They're pretty much both incredible. And this one is Dave Holder. Dave Holder, I'm not going to give you the whole story behind him. You're going to hear it from him. But he works with Brickabuilds and has worked with Brickabuilds for some time now. And I hope you find it inspiring, informative, entertaining, and it was a blast to chat with him. So let's go ahead and kick into it. All right. One of the final interviews on Brick World. Have a chance here, guys, with Dave Holder from Brickabuilds. You heard yesterday with Chris, of course, the CEO, the big kahuna. Now we have the smaller kahuna.
I'll take it. Kahuna in general. I'm okay with that.
So, Dave, thanks for coming on. Been a busy weekend.
It has
Absolutely been a busy weekend.
It's been wild. Yeah, this is one of the biggest events I've ever been to, and I think it's great that post-pandemic people are getting out, they're supporting these events. Without the people that came, they wouldn't exist, so it's really good.
And they flew you in special, right?
I flew myself in special. I flew
in
special.
from Australia.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Australia?
From Melbourne. So it's in.
Okay.
It's one of the southernmost cities in Australia. So on the eastern side of Australia, one of the southernmost of the mainland. There's Tasmania underneath, which is a separate island, but Melbourne, Australia.
During winter, of course.
Yeah. It's not the greatest right now, but being in the southern state, it gets quite cold. It's not beautiful, lush, tropical Australia that a lot of people often think. They're like, oh, Australia, right. Beautiful all year round. It's like
the reefs.
No, yeah. No, we got none of those. It's the cold south of Australia.
Well, you're with Brickabuilds now. I know you and I had a just kind of off the cuff chat. I don't know, a couple days ago, whenever.
Yeah.
And how did you get to be with Brickabuilds?
I joined essentially connected with the guys from Brickabuilds really early on. So, as a lot of people who listen to the podcast and yourself know, like the Lego community on Instagram is huge, and the way that the Lego community communicates and networks. So I saw Brickabuilds when it was just Chris and Adam. It was just the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were releasing a whole bunch of life-size helmets and life-size replicas of things. And I was doing something similar in Australia. So I sent them a message. I was like, hey, I see that this is the style of builds that you guys are doing. I'm doing something similar. They were running a website which was sharing instructions. And I had been looking for a platform to be do instructions for a while. And I messaged them. I was like, hey, it'd be really great if we could potentially collaborate and share our designs on this platform you're starting to work on. So it was for a couple of months. It was just the three of us. So Chris, Adam, and myself just working on our little projects. And then as interest for the instructions started to grow, we needed more people to help us get the instructions done on time. We needed people to help us on our social media. And then from there, the team has kind of exponentially grown to essentially fulfill the requirement to get enough custom instructions to people, really. Yeah. So it's just an Instagram message.
That's all it takes sometimes.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and now we're here. We've got a massive booth. I think we have now over 50 models that we host.
There's a bunch over there already.
Yeah.
And then, Chris talked about yesterday, you guys had the new Charizard. Did you design it?
I did.
You
Yeah.
did? Okay. Let's hear about that. Are you a Pokemon fan? Is that?
I enjoy most fandoms. I'm not die-hard fan.
Sure.
For me, the Pokemon were just a really fun thing to build. They're all so unique, but they're all Pokemon. But they're not, they're all vibrant, bright colors. There's a lot of Lego palette is grey. and the grey and dark grey, and a lot of castles and things like that, which is great. But the Pokemon, you get a chance to use really vibrant colours. The Pikachu was the first one I did almost 4 years ago. I've been sitting on that for a long time and been taking it to shows in Australia and sharing online, and always getting questions like, I want instructions, and that's held off for a long time. So it's like, I don't have the time, because it is a massive time investment. Yeah. But with each additional Pokemon I would make, someone would always request another one. And so it was originally just Pikachu, and I was happy with that. But because people were encouraging me to make more and more, that's kind of where the Pokemon theme for myself kind of really started and continued on from. Yeah.
And then you end up with the Charizard.
Charmander.
Not
to throw people off. Charizard's is a 6-foot dragon.
I'm not a Pokemon aficionado.
Oh, that's fine. You're probably for the best. They can get a bit wild.
They
those
can.
Poke fans. No offense, Poke fans. We love you.
They get wild.
It was a Charmander.
So you've got that thing over there, and it is vibrant. You talk about stepping away from the gray, the white, the black, whatever, and real vibrant colors. Was it just one of those things, like in the line of Pokemon, you're like, all right, this is the next step that we want to take in creating this or stretching this theme out?
For the ones that we do through Brickabuilds, a lot of it is reliant on what people would like to build at home. So the instructions that we release, the custom instructions, are often dictated by essentially the people that we connect with via primarily Instagram. Because our stuff is, Lego being essentially an art form, has a lot of like visual potential, so it's really, really good and easy to share like photos of your builds on Instagram. And that's where we connect with people the most. Like, wow, that's amazing that's built out of Lego. So the ones that we launch through the site are mainly dictated by the people who want to build it themselves at home. I build a lot of other ones just off my own back at home myself, and that will depend a lot on what availability I get with color, because each Pokemon is between like 2,000 to 3,000 parts for like a fairly small one, up to 10,000. So I've got like a 10,000 part Bulbasaur, which I wanted to do myself, but it took almost a year to accumulate all the parts. It took hours and hours of design time. It's not something we'd really do through Bricka, because we can't expect people to accumulate 10,000 parts for a model. So we kind of keep it to the smaller ones, but it's very, I guess, community driven on what people want to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got a really great eye for design.
Thanks.
Your models look incredible. Is there something else that you envision, maybe another theme, stay away from Marvel, Star Wars? Now, I know, talking to Chris, they're going after things that people are going to buy, things that people are really interested in. But is there something like that you might want to design that steps away from what the palette is currently with Brickabuilds?
Yeah, totally. The characters obviously are super popular. They're some of the most popular pop culture characters, like Star Wars, Marvel, Pokemon. People, have sometimes been exposed to them their whole life. Star Wars was, had been around for 10 years before I was even born. So, from a young age, Star Wars is 45 years old. So many people, connect with that. But one thing that we're trying to do a little bit, like me personally, I really connect with like life-size objects and like the typewriter set that Lego released. Like for me, that's like an amazing Lego set. It's a real-life object that has an amazing Lego replica of it, and it's very stylish, it's very sleek, and I think when people see something that they don't initially think is Lego, there's like a special like wow factor to it. So we're doing a few things in the next couple of months similar to the typewriter that people can kind of add to their collection. Vintage, retro, not to necessarily add to their typewriter model, but things that they might be like, I had one of those 10, 20, 30 years ago, I now have a Lego one, I built it myself, I can't get a Polaroid camera anymore, for example, of those old school, 70s, 80s, 90s Polaroid cameras, but I can have the awesome nostalgic experience of building essentially an exact replica out of Lego bricks.
Well, I mean, it works because, like you said, there's the nostalgia factor, there's the, you go to an antique shop, you might be able to find maybe if you're lucky, a Polaroid camera, but then you pair it up next to it, you have a cool little display in your house or whatever that might look like. So where does your Lego passion lie aside from Brickabuilds? Like you had mentioned about Star Wars. So, yeah. I mean, are you, do you find yourself more gravitating, like let's say you walk into a Lego store, for instance, is there a certain theme that you're drawn to?
Probably not anymore. I think when I was kind of first exposed to Lego, I think it's called Dark Ages, when it's like the time where you're not actively involved in like the Lego community to an extent, or you're not collecting. Even if you're not like a hardcore AFOL, more so just like, I didn't think that Lego was for adults. So I didn't really kind of know about Lego, I guess, until I was maybe like 25. There was that, you have it as a kid, and then high school kind of happens, and your interests vary. And it wasn't until you have an ever so slightly disposable income in your 20s or whatever is when I started to get into a little bit. And I used to just treat myself with a Lego Star Wars set from time to time.
Sure.
But now that's been for another 10 years, a bit distanced from it, because they keep making
Right.
another version and another version, and even though the collector in me would love to have 100 Star Wars ships
Sure.
and buy every single one that comes out, I'm pretty happy with what I've been able to collect over the past 10 years. So
Sure.
in terms of where I gravitate to in a Lego store, honestly now it's like the pick-a-brick wall.
Yeah.
It's like straight
That's
to the
where-
back. I'm like,
that's where a lot of the artists go.
Yeah.
They go straight back to the pick-a-brick wall and filling up those cups.
yeah, which is sometimes shameful when you're sitting there for hours, putting all the pieces in and kind of like, let's maximize the amount of space I can get in this cup by like filling in every little gap.
That is most AFOLs that walk in there. They're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I got to get all these plates together. Now
Yeah.
I'm going to put these in here. Now I can have room for this. Yeah.
And if I shake the cup at just the right frequency, all those little pieces will like fall down in between.
That's exactly what happens, and that's what's needed. You need to
Yeah.
maximize your space.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and because of the size of the models that I do, so I do love dioramas and I do love the minifigure, but it's something that me personally I've done a lot, and it's kind of like the sculptures and the large stuff is something that really pushes the boundaries of the design, and it's always a new challenge. You've got a whole different set of challenges when you're building a life-size replica of something, especially as iconic as those major franchises, because people need to look at it and see, like, yep, that's it. That is that character, or that is that Pokemon or whatever it might be. So the amount of time and effort that goes into it each time is a challenge. They're never easy. But going to the pick-a-brick wall, it's like, hey, I can get this color. I've got a great idea for something.
And you might have to let it sit for a while because you can't get the other color or whatever. That's always the battle that's being fought. But
there's been plenty of times where I've like almost had like a slight yelp of joy when I've seen a particular part. Is like, yes. I'm like, that I've been waiting for to finish or start a particular build. Like, because pick-a-brick, the quantity you can get, sometimes like thousands of parts, at a time, and it's costly, and it takes time. But any hobby that's worth doing, I think, is going to be a massive time and money investment if you care about it.
Yeah. Well, it's like any other hobby, whether you're flying drones or
playing golf,
model trains, playing golf. I mean, you're going to start small, and then you're going to constantly improve and upgrade and stuff like that. So it's like any other hobby. So with that in mind, do you have any things that you are building or want to build just personally, just to display at a show, not anything for Brickabuilds or whatever, something that you might want to work on or are working on that you're like, you know what, I'm going to display this at a show in Melbourne and whenever? Yeah,
totally. In terms of like Lego fandom, I've always had a strong connection with Lego, but also, funnily enough, I have probably like a bigger Transformers collection.
Oh, geez.
So it's like people are like, oh, you must have so much Lego. I'm like, I do, but I actually have more Transformers than I have Lego. And people are like, how can that be possible? I'm like, let's just not talk about it. Anyway, huge
okay.
Transformers fan. So with the now like official collab with Hasbro and the Optimus Prime, it's an okay figure.
Yeah.
I think it has some room for improvement. And so what I'm in the process of doing is, now that there's an official scale, I suppose, the Lego and Hasbro have been like, this is the Optimus Prime, this is the scale, this is kind of the model. I'm currently working on a series of like other Transformers that now fit into that scale. So
goodness,
for anyone that is old school Transformers fan from the 1986 movie,
oh man,
Attack on Autobot City. So I would like to recreate a bit of an Attack on Autobot City like diorama and use the Optimus Prime figure as the kind of scale. And because if you use like an official Lego set, kids are like, oh, that's the official Optimus Prime, and then it's like, oh, but all of these other characters in it are custom. So it gives it like a connection point for the fans of both Transformers and Lego to see that particular set, and then they get to see all the custom robots and stuff around it. So that's what I'm kind of currently working on.
I'm assuming after you build them, you're not just going to keep them to yourself. You're going to post them up on Instagram, right?
Oh, I'll definitely share,
Goodness.
photos and things like that. Yeah.
My heart almost stopped for a minute.
No,
because I'm a Transformers fan as well.
Very good.
And so it's nice that someone else is in that fandom.
Yeah.
But when Optimus came out and I had the opportunity to build it and stuff, I was like, there are issues with it.
There are. I think it's good. Like
it's good. It's a great foray into it. If there's
Yeah.
more coming,
Yeah.
they'll be improved, I'm sure. But I can't wait to see what you attach along with the Transformer stuff.
The plan is so currently doing Megatron. There's no surprises there. So
No.
if I start the scene and then I guess for me personally and for a lot of builders out there as well, not that we rely on other people to encourage us, but when you do share photos of your models and stuff that you're doing and you get a lot of like feedback, either positive or negative, hopefully positive, it does inspire you and encourage you to keep working on those particular models that you're doing. And the Lego community, as I was saying before, is really great and really supportive, and it's a very visual community. Instagram, I think, is probably the biggest platform that kind of supports the Lego communities.
It does.
So the plan is to kind of work on the Megatron, release that, see what people think, and then if people want to see more, then I'll kind of continue to do those things in my own time to eventually kind of, over, who knows if it's years or months or whatever, continue to build on that diorama, like big fan of the that Transformers 86 movie, so I'm super keen to do all the Autobots and Decepticons that were introduced for that particular movie.
Yes.
I think is where I want to gravitate to. Like after Megatron's done, I'd love to do like Hot Rod, Ultra Magnus, kind of do like the Sweeps, Cyclonus, Galvatron, those guys, and so that's kind of where I'm thinking for that.
I'm speechless. Like it doesn't happen often, but I can't wait to see. Years down the road, however long it takes, I'm going to be like, refresh.
Yeah. Well, in my mind as well, like I'll, especially the events like this are great for, I guess, inspiration and to kind of really push you to a point where like I have so many ideas and I've got so much inspiration. I've spoken to a lot of inspirational builders and fans, and so many of the people that do it here, like the Brickabuilds team, we're very lucky that we're able to share our craft with a lot of people, and and they can build it at home. But a lot of people that are at these events are just pure hobbyists. They do it out of a pure passion. They invest hundreds and thousands of hours and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I would hate to hazard a guess like how much raw plastic Lego bricks are at this event. Like it would be wild. It would make most people sick, I think, to think about like how many. It's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of Lego at this event. Easily.
And then you think about the weight alone.
Yeah.
Some of these builds.
Oh, the space that we're in is huge. It's what 100,000 square feet.
There's what I was told on Thursday is there are over 15,000 square feet of table space alone.
Yeah.
And they started and they were in a 15,000 square foot space.
Yes.
And it's just grown massively. And then just some of these models, they're so robust and so dense.
Oh, so some of them, there's some spaceships that are like hundreds of kilos. I'm like blown away at the scale, and the cities, like, and the lugs that kind of get together and they create these scenes, like the organization and the manpower. But seeing how passionate everyone is, you then get a lot of inspiration. And you want to take it away, and you're like, I can't wait to get home and continue to work on my projects because I've been so inspired by so many others.
Well, and it's funny you bring that up because I talked with Martin earlier from Brick Snaps, and he was kind of saying the same thing. Like, as events like this where you're chatting with people all day and stuff, you kind of, the energy gets sucked out of you because you're giving a lot, but you're also getting a lot. And he had mentioned about the inspiration that comes back. And same with him. He's like, I can't wait to get home. And, I was talking to somebody and I noticed that she did this on her model and that solved a problem for me. So I'm going to take that home and do that. So like you said, inspiration, you walk around and you may not get to see all the intricate detail of every single project here because there's hundreds of them.
There's literally thousands of models,
So, you take that back to what you're doing, whether it be Transformers or Pokemon or Star Wars or whatever. And at some point, that inspiration creeps up. So you're like, all right, when am I taking my plane back to Melbourne?
3 weeks. I'm home in 3 weeks. So I got to sit on these thoughts for 3 weeks, which I have to like find the inner peace because sometimes I get like super excited about an idea. Like, I got really inspired by one of my friends in Melbourne. He has an awesome Ninja Turtles diorama, the brick shelf, and his Ninja Turtles diorama is phenomenal. It's incredible. I'll send you a link to it, and you can have a look. It's honestly phenomenal. He's won heaps and heaps of prizes for it. And seeing his diorama, I was like, man, I would love to do a diorama like that. Like, what can I do? And then the Optimus Prime hadn't even come out yet, and I was just like, I would love to do a Transformers one. And then having the announcement of that figure, I was like, yep, okay, cool, because I'm having that figure kind of set the scale and the scene.
Yeah.
Not necessarily makes it easy to work with, but
you have your baseline now.
Yeah. And then, it means that if Lego by chance does potentially, collaborate with Hasbro again and release other figures, having something a little bit official, but then, having your own diorama and your own characters kind of just helps to, like, really bring that diorama, I feel, together. Like, some really great ones at the event today is like where someone's used a bit of an official set, but then kind of created their whole world around it.
Yes.
There's an absolutely phenomenal, like, Star Wars set where they've used the new, like, Collector Series AT-AT.
Yes.
And then they've built a whole huge scene around it that's phenomenal. It's like you've got that connection with something that is official, and it's the very iconic Star Wars vehicle or walker, and then you've got this whole build around it that's just mind-blowing, and you kind of connect it in two ways, like connected by the originality of what they've done behind an official set.
Yeah, I had a chance to see that the other day.
It's wild. It's huge.
It is huge.
I would never undertake a project like that. Like, this is
I think it's a group of like 8 guys.
I hope so. It's huge. It's like like almost like a 2-meter tall tree. The details are like so intricate.
It's a thick tree.
It is thick.
It's I don't even know how thick
it's at least a foot thick, like 30 cent. No, bigger.
Minimum.
It's almost like 2 feet.
I would probably say it's probably about 2 feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's rather thick.
The amount of detail is truly wild.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Well, where can people find you on Instagram? Any other social medias?
I mainly just do Instagram. Yeah, as we keep going back to, Lego's very visual. It's a great way to connect with people. The way that Instagram and stuff is now. This is not an Instagram ad, by the way, but it's just accessible. It's got lots of features to share. Stories and pictures and. Just Lego as an art form, I suppose, and a creative outlet. Great for visual stuff. So Instagram is the main one. I just go under my name, just Dave_Holder_.
Okay.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
Nice and easy.
There's more than enough brick dot somethings or the brick things. There needs to be like a Lego influencer name generator. Just slaps brick and then kind of runs any, the Brick King. That's fine. I appreciate it.
I tossed in my last name. I went with my wife. I was kicking names around years ago with my wife, and she was like, "Well," I was like, "Well, what? I want something that's not Lego, but bricks.
Yeah.
You can see the logo." Podcast. I was like, "Oh, I can find a way to put King in there because we do a whole theme in our home with that."
Nice.
So I was like, "That's it." And it's stuck, and she's
Easy.
like, "It's perfect."
Easy. Any adjective, any word, just because, like, brick, either before
it has
or after.
a personal
It does.
connection to me.
Look, I could have just done the brick holder.
You could have.
I could have, but I just decided to keep with. I was like, I'll let the others. I'll let the others take the brick, and I'll just go with my name. Works for me.
But it works.
Yeah.
Now people are like, Dave Holder. Oh, that's the Pokemon brick guy. Oh, that's the.
Yeah, it's not for that reason, but it's
no.
Because I already had the Instagram for much longer than before. It was kind of a Lego centric one, and it's just like, you know what, not going to change the name. We'll just run with it.
But people also care about other things than Lego. When you talked about Transformers, you take a picture of Transformers or something like that and put it up there. You're going to have an audience that's going to find it one way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
and
people are super
you're
encouraging.
sharing your personal life just like other people do. I'm very candid about my life and stuff like that through the show and everything because I'm just, it's there. I'm me.
I'm just hanging out. I'm just talking. I'm just here to have a good time.
It was a good time. So I'm glad you came on. I'm glad you had some time. It's kind of dwindled down here this afternoon. So
always going to be the case on the Sunday afternoon, which is good.
With it being Father's Day as well,
mm-hmm.
that helps. Not saying that they want to see lower numbers, but people are coming in. All right, let's go have dinner with Dad or something like that.
Yeah, it's nice for the kids and the dads to kind of share the afternoon if that's what they're into.
Yeah. So before I kick you out of here,
yep.
you said you're here for another 3 weeks, not necessarily in Chicago?
A little bit for Chicago. In Chicago for till next Thursday. It's currently Sunday. So Chris, who is the founder who started Brickabuilds, he was like born and raised in Chicago, so just a chance to kind of hang out and experience that. Those guys live in Atlanta, so we're going to go from Chicago to Atlanta, hang out there. Never been to Disney World, so I'm going to go to Disney World, which should be really cool.
That'll be fun.
And then I'm just going to enjoy some time, and big live music fan, so then I'm going to go back to the West Coast and hang around San Fran for a week, and then the plan is to kind of make my way up to like through Portland and then Seattle, and just kind of take my time and just see what things,
experience things.
Yeah. Like nothing set, but just enjoy and just travel. And I would like to end up in this place, and how I end up there, we'll wait and see.
Right.
Yeah, before flying home 3 weeks from now.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Well, thanks for coming on. I enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll run across you again in the future. Another Brick World or one other big show. You never know.
The world's returning back to normal a little bit, so having the opportunity to actually travel overseas and attend like such an awesome Lego event as this has been, really quite special. It's not something I've done before, but it's something that I definitely want to continue to do. So yeah,
fantastic.
See you next year.
Absolutely, we'll be back next year.
Great.
Thanks.
Bye.
Well, that'll wrap up this episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Dave was a really great chat, and hopefully you have an opportunity to talk to him again in the future. Chicago next year, maybe at another show somewhere around the country, or who knows, around the world at some point in time. So until we meet again, I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it.